Hi everyone, Sumit Chandra this side, and I welcome you to our channel Solution Bridge Network and one-stop solution for all your Power Platform tutorials. In this video, we will discuss about one of the very important and powerful topic of Power BI, RLS. But here we will discuss beyond static and dynamic RLS. In next 10 minutes, we will going to help you to automate your entire RLS process. Whenever we prepare any global report, we need to distribute the report with huge number of users. Many times the user count is more than 10k, 15k as well. And to cater the request on a regular basis, we get so many requests from different persons and different department to give the report access, and we need to put so much effort to give the access to different users, and this is a very manual process. So whenever we get any request over an email or from a team chat, someone from our team has to be add to that user to a particular role, and then we need to share this report with those respective users. Here we will explain you in some simple steps how to automate the entire process of your RLS. To automate the entire process, we will require some tools. So obviously our first tools will be Power BI, and in Power BI we already impose dynamic row level security in this particular report. Also, to manage the users for that particular report, we have created a SharePoint list where we are managing the user details. So our next tool will be SharePoint. Apart from this, we will use Power Automate to automate the entire process, and also we will use Azure Security Group. So these four tools we will going to use to automate the entire process of our row level security. Now let me show you all of these. So we already have this report. Let me go back to my workspace, and from here if we click on more options, security, in row level security we have a roles for country access, and we have added one group. Here we can add any individual person or some groups. If you wanted to learn about dynamic and static RLS, we have a separate video for the same. You can find the link from here and watch it. So first, let me go to the Microsoft Azure portal, and on Microsoft Azure portal, let me come to the search box and click on groups. So here we have to create a security group, so that if anyone added on that particular security group, the user will get our report access. Only one thing we need to do, we need to send an communication with the report link to that particular user, so that the user can access our reports. To create a new security group, we come to group and we need to click on new group. So once you click on new group, the first and foremost important option is group type. In group type we have two options, security and Microsoft 365. From here we need to select security, otherwise you will not able to find the group whenever you will try to add this group in the security section of Power BI. After that, we need to put the group name, description, and then we will create this group. So for now, I am not creating any group. So let me click on the group again, and here let me show you my group that I already created. I need to click on all groups. In all group, let me click on dynamic RLS. In this dynamic RLS group, this is my group ID or object ID. From these dynamic groups, if we wanted to see the members, we need to click on total members, and here under total member we have view group members. So if you click on view group members, you will get the member details. So here now we have these three members in this particular group. Let me go back, come to the dynamic group. Now, what we want, I already told you, we have a SharePoint list, and in this SharePoint list, we have the user details with the country specific access of our report. So here we will add users, and once we will add users, we want that the user should be automatically added in this dynamic RLS security group, and it will trigger an email to that particular user with the report link that we have configured the access for you. Once the user click on the link of that particular email, the user should get the relevant access. To achieve this, we will create a Power Automate flow. So let me show you how to create that Power Automate flow. To create the Power Automate flow, we'll go to Power Automate, and from here we will click on New Flow, and we will create a automated cloud flow. If you are new in Power Automate and wanted to learn about Power Automate, we have a separate playlist for the same. You can find the link of the playlist. You can watch the playlist so that you are able to learn about Power Automate. Here I will show you the steps related to this particular process. So let me put a flow name, dynamic RLS. And here a trigger will be when an item is created. Let's click on create. We need to configure this now. Let me click here first. Here I need to select my SharePoint site address. So my SharePoint site is RLS. You can see it from here. So I select my SharePoint site address. Now it will ask me to select me the list name. So from this drop down, we need to select our list name. So our list name is user details. So we select the site address and list name. Let me click here. Now we will add our next action. Let me click here, add an action. Here we will use get user from Office 365 users connector. Here we will select get user profile, and in UPN we will pass the dynamic content from our previous step, and that is user email. Again we will click on this plus sign and add an action. Here we will use Microsoft Entra connection. Let me type Entra. From here, we will select Add User to a group. This step will help us to add the user from that SharePoint list to this Azure security group. Now, here we need to pass two arguments. One is user ID and group ID. Both are mandatory. In user ID, we need to pass the dynamic content from our previous step, and that is ID. In group ID, let me move to the Azure portal, and from here, let me copy the object ID from the dynamic RLS security group. Let me go back to the Power Automate flow and paste the ID. Now let me add our last action. Again we'll click on add an action, and here we will use Outlook connector. In Outlook we will use send email. Here we will select this option, send an email. Let me configure this as well. From here I will use email or mail from user profile section. In subject, let me type Power BI report access. We can put the report name as well. And in body, Let me put hi, and here again we will call a dynamic content for that username. So let me click here and we'll use username. So it's given name. Let me put a comma and here let me configure the email. Congratulations. We have configured the access for you. Please click on the below mentioned link to access the report. Let me press enter and here I'll put report link regards team IT. In the report link, we will hyperlink our Power BI report link. So let me go to the Power BI and from here, let me copy the report link. So let me click on the share icon and from here, I will copy the report link. Let me go to the Power Automate and here I will click on insert link and I will paste the link. Let me click on this tick sign. Let me format it little bit. So I'll mark this bold. So we are done with our flow. Let me click on save button. Now to test this, let me add a users on the SharePoint and we'll check that this flow should run automatically. Let me go to the SharePoint and here let me click on add new item. In title I'll put Mr. Username demo user. So I'll select demo user. In country I'll configure it for now India and let me click on save. So we added the user. Now our Power Automate flow should run and the user should be added on the dynamic RLS security group and at last user should get an email. So let me check the Power Automate flow first. You need to come here. You need to click on all runs to check the run history. First time it may take some time. So you have to wait for some time. So now you can see the run history. Our flow has ran successfully. Now if I go to the Microsoft Azure security group and here if I click on refresh button, so here you can see demo users has already added here. Now let me show you the email. So let me move to a separate browser. Here you can see the user get one email. So this is the ID of demo users, right? You can see from here it's demo user email ID. If I click on this email, you can see that whatever email we have configured that is available here and this is the report link. So if you click on that report link, the user will get the report like this. So as we configured the access for India only, this user able to see the details for India only. So again, this is the Power BI login for demo users. So by using these tools and simple step, we can totally automate our RLS process. So let me summarize you the entire process flow. First, we need to configure the dynamic RLS inside Power BI and we should publish the report. Next, we should create a security group in Azure. We have to add the user from SharePoint or wherever you are managing the user. Next, we have to create a Power Automate flow and at last we need to go to our Power BI report and in dataset we need to click on security. Inside security in row level security section we need to select the roles and we need to add the security group name in here. So this is our entire process. Another two things I need to highlight here. So for example, if I add any user in a SharePoint, so our report has to be refreshed before we send the email to the users. So we can add another step inside our Power Automate flow to refresh the dataset. But if the dataset size is huge and it will take longer time to refresh, then what we can do, we can create a separate flow to send the communication that when our report has refreshed, post that the communication will be shared to the users. Another scenario, even we can create a Power App to make our solution more dynamic. So in case of global reports where we need to manage huge number of users, it's not a good idea to use a SharePoint list. Instead of a SharePoint list, we can create a Power App and we can distribute this app to different stakeholders to add the users, and once they add the users on that particular app, the user information will be stored inside a SharePoint or any database. And from there, we can run our Power Automate flow and the user will be added on the security group. Accordingly, they will get the report access. Even if we want, we can embed the Power App inside our Power BI reports. In our future video, we may demonstrate these features as well. Hope this information will be helpful for you. Let us know if you have any questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, hit the like button and press the bell icon for the new video alerts.